Our Outdoor Oasis show is sponsored by A Guy Heating and Air, the official Mitsubishi Mini Split installer of HouseSmarts Radio. Visit them at a-guy.com. Now back to Lou, right here on HouseSmarts Radio.
Nothing you can say can tear me away from my guy.
We've been talking a lot about the outdoors today, but I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the indoors and your comfort. I'm telling you, this season, the spring that we've had so far, has been the poster child for mini split systems. I mean, because it's 70 degrees one day, 80 degrees one day, and then it's 40 the next. And, being comfortable is just really, really difficult. Joining me on the phone line is Paul Bochco, who is the owner of A Guy Heating and Air. Paul, good morning and welcome to HouseSmarts Radio.
Hey, good morning, Lou. Thanks for having me on.
I mean, when we talk about heating and cooling in this kind of weather, it is unbelievably difficult because, these wide temperature changes. But as someone that is installing mini splits, specifically the Mitsubishi units, I mean, these things are kind of tailor-made for this kind of weather and beyond.
Absolutely. These units, they have the functionality to both heat and cool a space. They have a nice little feature that's called auto mode. So if we are cold in the morning, well, the unit's going to be able to automatically adjust and make sure you stay nice and comfortable.
Tell me a little bit about your company. Who is A Guy Heating and Air?
Yeah, so A Guy Heating and Air is a veteran and family-owned business. We're located in the south suburbs. We found that mini splits were a sort of a stepchild here, and a lot of people didn't know how to work on them, nor did they want to look at them, right? No, that's this ugly thing on the wall. Well, we've come to realize that these things outperform your traditional equipment. They save you money. They're more comfortable. And so now we found this little niche market that we sort of specialize in and become the poster child for it.
You know what I've kind of looked at the Mitsubishi and really the whole mini split systems was years and years ago when I started as a remodeling contractor. My partner Mike and I were Corian. We were certified Corian contractors. We were making our own Corian countertops because at the time, Corian would sell to just about anybody. And then they realized that, we got a lot of people out there that don't really understand our product well, and they're not doing a great job, and it's giving our brand a bad name. And I think that there's a lot of heating and cooling contractors who are traditional in the forced air, maybe the hydronics, and then they were like, oh, these mini splits, anybody can do it. And then now the manufacturers are kind of saying, you know what, we really want people to understand really how these things work. And having somebody like A Guy Heating and Air who specializes in this makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Mechanically, it's not too difficult to install these, right? It's a unit. It generally hangs on your wall, connects to an outdoor unit. We make our connections, and we turn it on, right? And most guys think that, hey, we can install this. Unfortunately, there's a lot of little nuances that go along with this technology that makes it a little bit more difficult to install and to do it right. And so we're using the latest, greatest technology. We've got software. We can 3D scan your room, and it'll tell us exactly what size we need. And therefore, there's no guessing, and we're ensuring that you're getting the right size equipment and you're paying the right price.
You're right about the right sizing, right? Especially with these mini splits, because they're just so efficient and they do such a good job that sizing the thing properly is super important. A lot of people, maybe they don't understand the concept of these mini splits. I mean, for somebody that has a window air conditioner, like, gosh, I can't look out my window because I got this big window air conditioner. This does more than cooling. It does heating as well. And this can change the look of a room to a positive, but also give you pinpoint coverage.
Yes. With window units, right? I had one in my own home, when I was much younger, but I remember the compressor turning on, right? And then all of a sudden you're watching TV and great, now I got to turn up the volume on the TV. And then when the compressor goes off, now all of a sudden it's quiet and I have to keep turning it back and down. The beauty about the Mitsubishi systems is they're whisper quiet, and they're going to provide you with a comfort and cooling that you've never experienced before. And the great thing is we can put these all over your home. So that way, if we're not in a space, well, we can turn that unit down or off or whatever we decide to do. And that way we can maintain temperature differently in different spaces.
Boy, that is such a huge advantage, right? Because I think that any home, depending, maybe you've got a great room that has a southern exposure and that's always, in the sun and it's always heated up. And then traditional systems, you've got one, maybe two thermostats in a zone system. And in order to be comfortable, you've got to end up cooling or heating the rest of the home just to make that one room comfortable. And with these units, right, because you can place those heads in one room, it isn't the thing. And explain to our listeners, Paul, that the cassette or whatever hangs on the wall, or in some cases even in the ceiling, right? Because you can do that as well. The inverter, the condenser that's on the outside, it's not one for one. You can pair those where one of those units outside can run multiple heads.
Correct. So a lot of people, they just assume that, I'm going to have a bunch of units on the outside and it's going to make my house look aesthetically ugly.
Right.
And so, no, we can streamline the process. We've been very creative in how we can hide things and make it look and blend in with your home. And that way you'll never see any of the things that you would may potentially think are not what you want to see on the side of a home, right? A lot of the stuff that we're installing, it looks like a gutter and you wouldn't even notice any difference.
Right.
And now we can connect up to 8 indoor rooms off of just one outdoor unit.
That's incredible.
So it's a great application.
One of the big differences about a guy heating and air and maybe some other contractors is that you are a Mitsubishi Elite Diamond contractor. What does that mean?
Yeah, so what that means is that we've spent a lot of time in the industry really perfecting our craft, attending the trainings, making sure that all of our technicians are properly certified. So we're ensuring that the units are installed to industry best practices, and that means that when we come out there, we're able to offer a 12-year parts warranty with up to a 12-year labor warranty. So that way you're really getting the life out of the unit that you're supposed to.
That is amazing. That kind of warranty, I think, is remarkable, and it says a lot about your trust in the product as well as the trust in the labor of what goes into it. One thing that I want you to explain as well with these mini split systems is, most of us, when it comes to a forced air system, we're used to changing the furnace filters, right? Maybe it's a 16 by 25 or a 20 by 20, and it's a 1 inch or it's a media filter. It might be this. These cassettes don't have filters per se that you change, right? You just clean them.
Right. It's a washable filter. So for the people that do have the window units, it's a similar type, right? It's a filter that you remove. You'll either vacuum that filter off or you'll let it wash it, let it air dry, and then you'll put it back in. So Mitsubishi sets is to clean it once every 2 weeks, and that's it. And so now we're getting a lot better of an air filtration in that room that unit's in, as opposed to trying to use a central filter that's doing the entire house.
Yeah. I think these things are great. I've spoken about this on the radio. I have a Mitsubishi unit, and it is, you don't even know the darn thing is on, other than when you're in the room, it's completely comfortable, and it's just terrific. Are there any rebates or incentives currently for listeners when it comes to installing these units?
Yeah, absolutely. So ComEd is the big one that's offering the best rebates currently, and those can range anywhere from $500 for the smaller systems up to $2,000, depending on the type that they get installed. Wow,
that's great. All right, if people want to reach a guy heating and air, how do they do that?
Yeah, real simple. They can just give us a call at 708-480-2921, or they can go to our website, which is a-guy.com. Yet again, the letter a-guy.com.
Paul Bochco is the owner of A Guy Heating and Air. They are a Mitsubishi Elite Diamond contractor, and they specialize in mini split installations. These are the guys you want to call. Paul, nice to speak with you. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Lou, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.